We are live, baby. What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to go over two of the most overlooked sourcing techniques. And this is a lesson, guys. Don't always follow the herd. On YouTube, there's a lot of people giving advice about sourcing books. A lot of it is good advice. But just because everybody's doing one thing doesn't mean you should also do it as well. And generally with business, if a bunch of people start doing one thing, that thing becomes oversaturated. So with these other sourcing techniques, a lot of people don't think that they're the best because their innate desire to follow the herd. We're programmed to do this. We're programmed to always go where everybody else is going. When everybody's going to a library sale, we all want to go there too. When everybody's going after the piñata, everybody wants to go after that. It's just the way we're programmed. So don't just think that these tactics are off the wall. I know lots of people crushing it with these two tactics I'm about to get into. So keep an open mind. The first one, both of these have to do with colleges. And think, colleges have textbooks. Textbooks are some of the most valuable books on Amazon. If you guys have been getting value from my last couple videos, if you guys have not seen the videos, I'll link them below after this. But I've probably generated, no joke, I've probably generated $20,000 or $30,000 in the last 3 days collectively from all the information I've put out to you guys. I've been getting DMs from people left and right. Hey, look, I just made $1,000, or not 1,000. I haven't got that message yet, but $400 using your technique on Facebook Marketplace. And that's in a matter of a couple of days. So if these techniques, if these kind of like sideways techniques that I'm showing you guys are working, comment below so everybody else knows they work. And then also like this video, hit that bell button, make sure you get notified when I make more videos in the future. That being said, these two techniques have to do with college campuses, and colleges are great to source books because they have the highest dollar books. The first technique is you're literally this is gonna get you out of your shell a little bit. You're gonna have to brush your teeth. You're gonna have to comb your hair. You're gonna have to probably put a backpack on. And if you're a little bit older, you're gonna have to get.
Your voice is all messed up on it.
Is it not going?
It is. It's like a huge robotic voice. It's like really weird. What's up?
What about now? We're gonna have to open this up to Q&A because nobody's gonna watch that video after this. You think? Every time I do that, nobody knows. It just like hides me from people. So I'm just gonna keep it going. All right, guys. Is this any better? Can you guys hear me any better? We get into two sourcing techniques that are kind of off the wall. Not a lot of people are talking about this on YouTube.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, we are good to go. Can you turn me to, okay, good. It weirds me out when I hear my voice. I don't want to hear my own voice all the time. Okay, so these two techniques, they're going to get you high dollar college textbooks. The first technique is you have to comb your hair, brush your teeth, and dress up kind of like a college student. If you're a little bit older, this technique might be a little strange for you, but you're literally going to go to a college campus and knock on every single door for professors. And I'm going to give a modified version of this technique in a second, but this is the old school way of doing it before the world went to shit. You would go to the college campus, you would knock on the doors, and you would go to the professor and you say, hey, look, I run an online book business. Do you have any textbooks that you would like to get back into students' hands? You could say something like that. That's what I usually say. A lot of professors are going to not be okay with you being there. They're gonna be like, what are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. Because they get hit up by these people before. Again, there's other people doing this technique. It's just not talked about often
on the YouTube. So that's one way of doing it. The other method you could try, I'm giving you guys lots of ideas here, and this could be huge. Find an email list for the school and email every single professor on the list and say, hey, I'm willing to pay cash for any books that are, and make sure you phrase it this way, like any books that are not currently being used. I run an online bookstore where we sell the books back to students. Would you be opposed? And guys, the words I'm using here are very important. I'm not just making this shit up just to make it up. Would you be opposed to me coming in and picking up any books you're not using? You get a lot of free books that way. Actually, a lot of professors aren't motivated by money. They actually feel bad for taking money because they got the books for free. So if you frame yourself as a business that's going to get the books back into students' hands, they might be happier to give you the books rather than have you pay cash. But during this time, cash is king. People are hungry for cash. That's tip number one. Tip number two, and this is you're gonna have to get your big boy business pants on for this. You're gonna have to, I was talking about barriers to entry. The people in the book business who make the most money are the ones who overcame the most barriers to entry. So this one, you're gonna have to frame yourself as a business. You're gonna have to probably get a website set up, at least a Facebook page, get a Facebook page set up, and then you're going to call the president of the school, call student affairs, and you're going to set up a college buyback. So what you're going to do is say, hey, I run a book business. Would you guys be opposed? That's not the best way to phrase this. I could make some money for the school. I could help X team. I could help the school make X amount of money. You're going to give them a % of the profits. Would you be opposed to me setting a table up at the beginning of the semester and at the end of the semester and purchasing kids' textbooks? Now, with this technique, you can make 5 figures in one day. You're going to be spending thousands of dollars, but you're going to be making tens of thousands of dollars if you have several campus buybacks set up at once. So these are 2 off-the-wall techniques that you can use. I go into depth in the second technique in my course. I really break down how to set up a college buyback, how to quote the books for the kids, kind of like the dynamics of it, how to get people to say yes. I even share my portfolio that I use to show the schools in my sourcing scripts. So if you guys look at my sourcing scripts, a lot of you guys have already purchased those, but my sourcing scripts, they teach you the words to use to say to people to get books, which is what is important. So I'm going to get a Q&A now because I just broke down those 2 techniques for you guys. Sorry for my voice sounding like a robot at the beginning. Michael Cade is saying, I think you just read the comments. Yep. Junkman saying, I sound better now. Junkman is saying a little close to your mouth and it distorts. Redlining. Yeah, need to work on the distance with this. I think it's still turned up a little bit high. Junkman says, I've bought a lot of books from professor estates in auctions. Some were heavily written in and severely underlined. Local bookstore gave cash for many, but I wouldn't Amazon. Nice. Professor estates are good. Auctions are good. I think these businesses are going to be much more willing to work with us because everybody's hungry for cash now. Again, guys, comment questions you have about sourcing, questions you have about maybe even listing books or repricing books, anything to do with the book business. Go ahead and comment those questions and I will get to those. But yeah, colleges are havens for books. Think of colleges have the most expensive books. It's good just to source at thrift stores near colleges. That's the easy way to do it. But think, how can I get those books before they end up in the bookstore? How can I go to the college and actually extract some profit before these books end up in the thrift store where somebody you know somebody's going to be in there before you scanning all the textbooks. So it's likely you won't even get to get the books in the first place. Questions, guys. Comment those questions. Appreciate you, Junkman. Junkman's always coming in first. So I've been talking a lot about sourcing books the last couple of days. I haven't been talking much about repricing books. So if you guys have repricing questions, I used to make tons of videos on repricing in the past. So if you guys have repricing questions, comment those below too. When do you think the third quarter textbook starts as far as for summer school? You got to ask the school. Every school is different. You're talking about literally the spike. The spike's in May. The spike occurs in May. So there's 3 textbook seasons. There's textbook season in August. There's textbook season. So August, September, when kids go back for fall semester. There's textbook season in springtime, January, February. And there's this kind of textbook season that we're going through right now. I've seen an increase in sales. But even when it comes to setting up college buybacks and just sourcing books from colleges, it's good to know when do they start and when do they end, because some schools will end in June. Some schools will start in June. So it's good to know these things. For those of you that just are getting in here, comment some questions. I'll get to those. I'm dedicating tonight to Q&A. And drinking hot water. You guys have access to the best bookseller east of the Pacific Ocean here to answer all your questions for about 10 more minutes before I go lay in my bed and watch some Netflix about aliens. I've been obsessed with aliens lately. Is your package videos or text or PowerPoint? Spreadsheets, all the above. So we have 70 plus videos, I believe. I haven't counted all of them, but it's a lot. And those videos just teach you how to sell books A to Z on Amazon. Then we also have a different product called sourcing scripts. The sourcing scripts have the words to use to get more books from different businesses. Spreadsheets, we don't include any spreadsheets in the course. Nervins is saying, do you recycle your duds at Sell Back Your Books? That Sell Back Your Books is not buying. So whenever I'm in the situation where I have a surplus of duds, what I do is I usually just schedule a Goodwill pickup. So back home when I was in Nashville, Tennessee, if you guys are in the South, if you guys live in Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, or I think it's Greensboro, North Carolina, they have McKay's used bookstore. And if there's also First and Charles, or Second and Charles, I believe is the name of it. And out west, there's Half Price Books. Northwest, there's Powell's Books. You can go to these places, you can take your duds, and oftentimes they'll purchase them from you. McKay's had a great workflow. We could literally take them gaylords of books and they would pay us for them. But when I'm in the situation where I have duds and I don't have access to a store that will purchase them from me, I schedule a Goodwill pickup. It's the easiest way. Call Goodwill, call Salvation Army, get them to come pick up the books. Once you get to a little bit larger scale, what you are going to have to do is work with a recycler. So you're going to have to work with a recycler. Sometimes the recyclers will pay you for the books. Sometimes you have to pay them for the books. It depends on the paper market. The paper market's always fluctuating. So just keep that in mind. Is $400 package, is your $400 package new videos? So the package is $300. Currently right now it's $300. It's going to go up in price. So the price for the Book Business Blueprint right now is $297. It's only going to continue to go up in price as time goes on. But that includes videos, no text lessons, but there's videos where I have spreadsheet PowerPoints, like these videos I've been doing with you guys where I have PowerPoints. That's actually where I got the idea from. I was shooting all these videos for the course. I was like, I should start making my YouTube videos like this. So there's going to be videos with text on the screen where I kind of walk you through things, and then no spreadsheets. But I do teach you how to use Caleb Roth's tracking spreadsheet in depth. We really break that down to get your accounting right. But really, there's a lot of hands-on just video content, whiteboard content. I got a whiteboard behind me and breaking down different concepts, especially in the scaling section where I talk about scaling your book business. So you're not just working within your business and having to do everything yourself. You can actually build a business where you can take a step back. And that's really a mentality. And I break down related to a book business, how you're able to do that, how you're able to hire listers, how you're able to find replenishable sources, how you're able to create repricing systems so you don't have to be caught up in the weeds every week, spending hours and hours of your time repricing your inventory when you could be scaling your business, when you could be finding more profitable books. William is saying, basically, should I be worried about selling textbooks in the whole counterfeit claim thing? I kind of moved away from it because of that. Okay, so that's a good question. So when it comes to selling textbooks, there's this law firm that's been purchasing textbooks from people and claiming that they're counterfeit. A lot of textbooks are counterfeit. Some are, some aren't. I'd say I've heard that about 20% of textbooks are counterfeit. I think that number's high, and it depends on where you get the textbooks from. But even textbooks from thrift stores, even textbooks on college campuses, those books could be fake. The worst thing that could happen to you is you get sued. There's rumors out there that they'll sue people. So that's the worst thing that could happen, but I don't think it's going to happen to smaller Amazon sellers. But yeah, just play it safe. Go through stopcounterfeitbooks.com. It's a website that teaches you how to look for counterfeit books. Go there, have your team, have your listers, have yourself go through their training. That way you can identify what is a counterfeit book. What does a counterfeit book look like? What are the signs for it? What does the binding look like? Make sure you can look at like the text. There's different tricks you can do. You can run, you look at all the pages and look at the bottom number. Sometimes the number will jump around. That means it wasn't printed good. And that oftentimes means that it was a counterfeit. And yeah, so worst case scenario, you're going to have to deal with something like that. But I run restrictedinventory.com. So if I thought it was a huge issue, I wouldn't run this service because we sell a majority of textbooks. My service, restrictedinventory.com, we sell your popular textbooks, CDs, DVDs, all that good stuff. We sell them on different accounts to diversify because in the past I've had an Amazon account shut down. So now what I want to do is diversify as much as possible. I don't want all my eggs in one basket. So we list on as many accounts as possible because we know there's people, and with all brands, we kind of run into this problem, but with the whole textbook thing, people are, those law firms are crazy. They're taking it to the next level. But I would just play it safe. Look for the counterfeits. If you're super worried about it, send the inventory to us. We'll screen it for you. We'll sell it to you on restrictedinventory.com. But yeah, I wouldn't stress out too much over that. What are the biggest mistakes you've made when first starting your book business a couple years ago? What do you wish you would have done differently? If you had the knowledge you have now. So starting out, the biggest problem I had in my book business was just I wasn't scanning enough books. So I was a one-man army. I was going out. I was going to thrift stores, libraries. I was just hustling. And at the end of the day, if you looked at my phone, I wasn't really scanning that many books because I didn't make my routes efficient. I didn't plan my routes ahead of time. I would just go from one place and be like, oh, after I got done scanning at that Goodwill, I was like, where's the next Goodwill? I didn't have my route planned out ahead of time. It's very important to batch everything together. So when you're sourcing, you want to have every place you're going to go back to back lined up. So that way, when you go from point A to point B to point C to point D, you can scan 5,000 plus a day. Once you start scanning 5,000 books a day, that's a pretty good day. So starting out, I just wish I would have scanned more books faster. I would have learned a lot faster that way. Any Memorial Day discount coming up for the course? Not yet. We're not running discounts, but the course is at a discounted price right now. and it's only going to continue to go up in price as time goes on. So currently it's $297. Get in there as soon as possible, guys. I wish new price would work for Amazon France. Message Matthew Osborne about that. Message their team. Maybe they could help out. I don't know how big the market is in France for them, but I know some softwares are going to UK because there's a lot of people in UK. Good question, Steve, says Junkman. Junkman's giving my roommate credit. Steve Ray can just ask a question. Kevin's asking, can you get an Amazon account per company even? But what is this? What is this French English? Can you get an amazing account per company even? Am I reading that right, guys? Can you get an amazing account per company even? I'm not sure what that means, Kevin. Diversify Amazon accounts is nice, but frustrating that new accounts have restrictions and gated categories. Yeah, there's different websites out there. There's websites where you can purchase Amazon accounts. I'm not sure how trustworthy those websites are. That's one way to do it. When it comes to getting ungated, guys, you just have to get an invoice from a trusted distributor. I go over that in my course too. I break down exactly where to get the invoice. Like literally, I made a manual for my team because I run the service restrictedinventory.com. So I made a manual for the team, how to get ungated. Whenever we get a brand, we get Lego, how to get ungated in Lego. Like I walk you guys through that. The one thing I don't know how to get ungated in is popular textbooks. It's a weird one. Amazon's weird about that because the law firms are weird about it. But I did interview, and I'll link this below as well. If you guys are interested in checking out this guy, super big hustler. He has 15 plus Amazon accounts. He's a wholesaler. If you guys are interested in how he sets up his accounts, he actually broke it down for us. He gets other people to set up accounts for him. So that's huge to diversify like that. Like if you're doing something like wholesale, and even for me, if you're selling a lot of textbooks, it'd be smart to get multiple accounts. Diversify as much as possible. Diversify your income in all ways as much as possible. That's why restricted inventory is great, restrictedinventory.com, because you guys almost have like a different Amazon account. You guys can sell on my Amazon accounts and get paid for that. So whenever one account gets shut down, if it ever does, you still have other accounts that are bringing you money. And Alexis is his name. He breaks down how to get multiple Amazon accounts. I was really surprised that he broke that down on my live show. It was really cool. What strategy do you use for repricing? So we use new price to reprice and combination of Repriceit. So I do have an active Repriceit subscription. I think if you have less than 2,000 units in inventory, new price is good enough. So with new price, I have a virtual assistant go in, and the virtual assistant reprices books for maximum profit. So what we're looking for is there's something called what I call a significant gap. What's a significant gap? A significant gap is when, depending on the rank and the age of the inventory, the gap in price from one to the next, from one listing, from one offer to the next is high enough to wait a couple extra days or a couple extra weeks for the sale. Can you get my charger?
Yeah, where's it?
I think it's in my room. Appreciate that. I need to start bringing that over here before my show. You guys always make me talk too much. So significant gap. It's when, let's say, someone's selling the book for $13 and someone's selling the book for $16. So 13 to 16, that's $3. Is that a significant gap? Well, it depends on the rank. So I have these rules. I have, depending on the age of the book, that might be over there. Depending on the age of the book, 0 to 90 days, 90 to 180, 180 to 270. So depending on the age of the book, that's one thing. But then the rank is next. So the rank ranges are like 0 to like 100,000, 100,000 to 500,000. So depending for each of those age brackets and rank brackets, there's different significant gaps. So it's back there. So if the significant gap, if the book is a very low demand book, meaning it doesn't sell often, high rank, low demand, we're going to want a very significant gap. We're going to want $50+. We're going to want that gap to be $50 plus. Now, for a high demand book, very low rank book, and maybe it's only been in our inventory for 0 to 90 days, we are going to want a very, we don't want much. If I make an extra $1 and it only takes three days for the next item to sell, I am going to want to wait in line a little bit longer. So New Price allows us, and I have tons of videos on this. I'll link those videos below too. I have videos on New Price, how to look for those significant gaps. Now, if you have like less than 1,000 in inventory, once a week you can log into New Price, and if you're fast, you could probably reprice 1,000 in like 2 hours, probably if you're fast. If you're a little bit, if your connection's a little bit slower, if you're just getting used to the software, it's going to take you longer than that. So that's why I hover between using I hover between using a virtual assistant and using Repriceit, depending on my circumstance. So like right now, it's textbook season. It's miniature textbook season. It's May. Kids are going back to school. I do want to reprice quicker. So we've already repriced all the significant gaps. We've already repriced at the prices we want to maximize on. So before textbook seasons, before May, before August, before January, what we do is we go in and we price all of our textbooks a little bit higher because we know that the demand's about to increase rapidly. So we want to be able to have our textbooks priced higher. So when the demand increases, we get more profit. Does that make sense? We want as much profit as possible. But during times like this, when it is like when the demand is high, so the demand is very high right now, we want to reprice a little bit faster. So I am using a combination of Repriceit just to match buy box and have a faster sell through rate. There's no point in using New Price if you're just going to match buy box. If you're going to match buy box, you might as well be using a repricer. How often are you having your virtual assistant reprice the same SKU? It's every 2 weeks. So we do every 2 weeks. But again, times like this, May, the demand's higher. I'm going to have a combination of Repriceit in the New Price. So the whole point of New Price is to get as much profit as possible. But once that demand increases, once the demand is at its peak for whatever item you're selling, in this case, I sell lots of textbooks. But if you're selling like media, DVDs, there's going to be a peak in demand in Q4. So during those times, you want to reprice more aggressively. And to reprice aggressively at bulk, it's easier to use a repricer rather than New Price. Best repricer is Repriceit. I tried Channel Max. I don't know what Channel Max is. I don't know what BQ is. Only one I've used is Repriceit. I'm not super impressed with Repriceit. It seems like a pretty simple software, but it gets the job done, and it's not super versatile in that you can't program it to do a lot of things. And I break down all my Repriceit templates in the course, but I'm not super impressed with that. That's why I use New Price. I use New Price first and then Repriceit second. I use Repriceit for they're tools. It's like having tools in a toolkit. One's a hammer and one's a screwdriver. I use a hammer when I need to, which would probably be Repriceit. Hammer it down, get those sales fast. But New Price is a screwdriver. It's for the finesse. It's for squeezing out as much profit as possible and really getting those home run sales, getting those sales that make you a lot of money. Those sales where you look at it when it's sold and you're like, oh my gosh, I sold it for $160 and the lowest price was $100. So you made an extra $60 by repricing smart with a third-party tool, New Price. So it's my 2 cents on that. I like merchant fulfilled, says William. I like merchant fulfilled, a book, and it took 21 days to arrive. On the 19th day, they asked for a refund, so I gave it. I used media mail and got a label from Amazon. Should I have told them to file the refund with Amazon? I shipped it the next day. I'm not familiar with merchant fulfilling, and I don't know about the refund policy with that. I do know that when you use FBA, Amazon assumes responsibility for customer service. So whenever you get messages regarding packages, regarding refunds, regarding any of this stuff, right? You don't have to answer it. Amazon tries to get you to answer it. Amazon tries to hire all of their sellers as customer service reps. We don't have to be customer service reps, guys. Part of FBA agreement is that they handle all that stuff. So whenever you get a message, I don't care what the message is. Hey, does page 13 have writing in it? Hey, can I get a refund? Hey, whatever the question is, you don't have to answer it. You can respond, open up your Amazon seller app, or hire a virtual assistant to do this. I just hired a VA to do this for me because for 2 years I did this myself. I would go in, I would check every single day, and it was a waste of my time, but I did like to kind of see what questions people were asking. It was actually really entertaining to me, but I got over it. And now I save myself 10 minutes a week. I save myself a lot of mental thought by having a VA go in every single day and mark all these questions from customers as not needed. Amazon assumes responsibility for customer service. We got William. Already answered that question. We got Ben Bamboo saying, I have new price and something called Profit Protection Pro. Interesting. That's a good name. Profit Protection Pro. I like that. Sounds like it does something with floor prices. Does it set floor prices for your inventory? Where do you see your book business going, sales goals in the next few years? So last year, my sales goal was 500,000, and I don't like to set sales goals anymore because when I set sales goals, I'm just so obsessed with hitting the number. Like I focus so much on sending inventory in, and really everything else kind of takes a back burner. It's everything except my sales goal. Now what I want to do is focus more on profit. How much profit am I bringing in? That being said, I don't like to take a step back. So my sales goal is 500,000 last year. I would like to hit 1 million this year. If I can hit 1 million in sales, that would be happy. But I expect my sales to land. I just said 1 million. So I expect my sales to land over 1 million. But projected right now, we're looking at between 500 and 1 million in sales. So, but that's a much leaner operation than previously. I'm starting to fine tune things. I'm starting to make sure that we're squeezing as much profit as possible. Thank you for that question, Steve.
Got a whole bunch more coming.
Take notes. Get your notepad out. Ben Bamboo is saying, don't ask me either because I'm still just manually repricing until I have a lot more inventory. Mainly bought them to lock in their rates. Nice. Kevin is saying, thank you. This is a fun content format. Much love, Kevin. I appreciate that. Terry is coming in. Terry, I would love to have some more questions from you. I responded to your comment today on my YouTube video where Terry was like, dude, everybody doesn't want to be Jeff Bezos and build $1 million book business is essentially what he was saying. He was like, I just cherry pick for fun. I've through cherry picking, just through him going to library sales, just from him going to thrift stores, he's been able to have like basically a full-time income. And I believe he's a little bit older, and he said that's enough for him. So sometimes I get a little bit gung-ho. I'm just like, I'm here in Miami. I just want to scale. But I do want to cater to like the type of content that those type of people want too. So like, Terry, what are you interested in? What questions do you have? Do you want to optimize your sourcing? Do you want any more? Are you into off-the-wall sourcing techniques? Like I'm talking about, sourcing at colleges, or do you want to know like how to look at the Scout IQ screen and squeeze as much profit out of that? Because I know I made a video a while back, and it's one of my top videos I've ever made, was me really breaking down how to find profitable books from Scout IQ that a lot of people are leaving on the shelf because it says reject when you should actually accept it. That being said, Terry's saying a little slower than new price, but much better, in my opinion, is Repriceit. Huh. So did Peter Valley make Repriceit? That is interesting. If he did. Or does he recommend it to people? How did you first find out about the book game? So when I was in college, I had a textbook, and I was like, I bought this for $100. I don't want to sell it for $100. I do want to sell it for $100. I don't want to sell it for $20 to the bookstore. I want to sell it and get my money back. So I started selling it on Amazon. I realized selling on Amazon was a lot of work. So when you invest in something, you want to get your return for your time. So it took me a while to figure out how to list the item, how to ship it. I didn't know how to ship an item back then. I was a freshman in college. And then what happened was I started, and this is why I'm big on sourcing from colleges. This is where I started, and it's the only reason why I was able to have that initial success. I was literally surrounded with high dollar profit textbooks, and I started selling my friends' textbooks and my friends of friends textbooks. I would sell my friends' textbooks, friends of friends, and then eventually I took a $700 loan from my dad, and I was like, look, I'm just going to buy the textbooks from these people. I'm literally just going to take this money, go to school. I know what I'm doing. I've made money from these books. I'm just going to buy them. So what I would do is I go over how to quote books. You guys will see a link in this in the bio after this video, how to quote books. It's in the Facebook sourcing video. I'll link that below. But I found out how to quote books, and I was quoting books the wrong way back then. I was paying way too much for the books, but I was still turning a good profit. I was still doing probably over 100% ROI. Paid my dad back his $700 loan. And that's how I got started. I was just doing that every single semester. And then after that, I went to live in my car. Actually, there was a little bit of a gap here. I was going to go to physical therapy school. I was going to become a physical therapist. And every time I went to physical therapy to shadow, that's what they call it, to shadow before you get the job, I was so incredibly bored, like so bored at the physical therapy. I'm obsessed with the body. Like I love moving my body, working with the body, and learning about the body. Like I could have been a doctor, but I didn't want to sacrifice my 20s and 30s going to school, because if I became a doctor, I'd have to go to school, basically all my 20s. And then I would just be stuck at almost like a cubicle in a sense. Even though I'm making eye contact with people, I'm working with people, it really exhausted me. So then I did that, and I realized I want to do something entrepreneurial. The only thing I've been successful in is selling books. So then I coached wrestling, only made $1,000 coaching wrestling. And I was like, wow, I'm making more money selling books, and books are giving me the freedom to do more than anything that I've done in the past. So then I went on YouTube, and I found out there's a lot of people doing this at a larger scale. And I networked. I met people at the Turn the Page event, which is a big booksellers conference. And that's when I met Caleb Roth. He was part of a medical team. He quit his job as a medical professional to sell books full time. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of opportunity in this. So that's really how I got started and how I got hooked in selling books. What is the future of the book game? Will it still be lucrative 5 years from now? I think there's going to be a big change in textbooks. It'll be interesting. I think what we're going to see is a shift away from these fluffy subjects and a shift towards more concrete subjects. That being said, there's digital copies of books out there right now. There's so many digital copies, and people are still buying physical books. So I don't think physical books are going anywhere. People love holding something and reading it. But I think the textbook game is going to come in with some interesting changes, especially if we have a shift towards going away from college, like not going to college. So there's going to be a lot of shifts, and it's all about adapting and overcoming the challenges that are in front of us. But I think all the other types of books are safe. Smash that like button, guys. Rake and Profit, literally in the house, Cracker Barrel hat on, over here. He just gave me a $5. He just gave me, that's half a Chipotle bowl right there. Much love, brother.
Cold hard cash.
Cold hard cash, baby. Smash that like button for this content. When you guys hit that like button, it really does validate my ego. It makes me feel amazing. I go to sleep feeling so much more self-fulfilled. I'm just kidding. It helps the YouTube algorithm, guys. When you guys hit that like button, you guys are pushing my content to more people. So if you want more people to know about my content, so everybody can become rich booksellers and you guys will have more competition out there, then hit that like button. Help me out. Profit Protection Pro is done by the same people who made Buybot Pro. I don't know what that is either. some of the sickest item analyzing software I've ever seen. No affiliation with them whatsoever, just something that has helped me. Okay, interesting. I have to look into those. Terry says he made it. My goal is always leaner inventory with a much higher ASP. Terry, how many years have you been selling books, and what is your ASP? I'm interested because you're always coming in with these comments, and I love it. And I can tell that you have some wisdom. You got some wisdom on your belt. Obsessed with salsa dancing. Who's obsessed with salsa dancing? I'm obsessed with salsa dancing. I've invested in, check this out, guys. I've got my claves. It's a instrument for salsa music, and I also have this cowbell. They say if you understand the music, if you understand the instruments of the music, you dance better to the music. So I'm quarantined here. I'm learning all the instruments to salsa music so I can move my body better. That's what happens when you're in quarantine, guys. Shit starts getting weird. When is the next turn the page event and where? Who knows? Nothing's official yet because of this whole situation that we're in. But if you guys subscribe, you will be sure to hear from me about the next turn the page event because I will be speaking at it. We are having one in Miami later this year. So who knows? We might do a little mastermind up here. Would you guys like that? We got Dan saying raking while Roman and raking. When we getting the collab channel, let's hope everyone is well and grinding. We could get a little collab channel. We should just get someone to come up here and just film us full time.
Right. Maybe someone in the audience.
Get Zach. Do you guys want someone's got to come film us? Because like you guys think that we're normal people. We're not normal people. There's a lot of weird stuff going on here. A lot of weird stuff going on over there in the corner of the kitchen right now. And if we got all this on camera, we probably have a pretty successful collab channel. Help a brother out and hit that like, y'all. Much love, Ben. Ben always coming in with the love. What's the lowest price book you send into FBA? On my end, it's $13 to $14 euro. It depends on your situation. It depends on the situation of the book. For me, if we have the book in front of us and it makes us 50 cents profit, we send it in. If I'm going outsourcing and I'm paying for the book, I want to make at least $3 profit. That's generally what I do. And I recommend that for everyone else. There's one more scenario when we're going through books that are later going to be listed. So we have the book in front of us, but we don't have the listing platform set up. Then we want at least $1 profit. But if the book makes it to the listing platform and it only makes us 50 cents, you've already scanned the book. You're about to print the label for the book. You might as well put that book in a box and make your 50 cents. So if you're going through a pallet of books and you have to scan the books first, $1 profit. However, if that book changes in price by the time it reaches the computer, 50 cents profit is our rule. Much love. Appreciate the bubbly. You're just coming in with all sorts of love tonight. Super chats, sparkling water. We're bougie out here. Oh, yes, delicious. Junkman says watching on a beer run. Where are you, Junkman? Where are you located at? Full-time for 3 years, total of 5. Total of 5. What was the second question I asked? Full-time for 3 years. Okay, so he's been selling books for 5 years. ASP has always managed to stay in the $26 to $30 range. That is probably okay. So what you guys have to realize with ASP, there's an optimal range depending on your business model. As your business model scales, your ASP will decrease. But if you're a one-man army like Terry is, then you want a higher ASP because what your salary is each year, how much you're going to take home from your business is going to be much higher if you're able to more efficiently run your business. And if your ASP is lower, you're probably going to sell twice as many books and do twice as much work. So by doing twice as much work, you're not going to be able to dedicate as much time to the higher priced book. So you're actually going to make less money than if you just would have focused on the higher dollar books. Hope that makes sense. You know what this stream needs? More cowbell. Yeah, this cowbell is loud. Don't push me. But later, I will be going out on that balcony and getting after it. Every night, 8 o'clock in Miami. It's already 8:23. People have been slacking. But what happens is everybody goes out on their balconies and they scream, they shout. There's lots of Latinos here. So everybody has cowbells. And they go out there and they get after it. They get after it. We even sometimes we get our speaker and we'll go out there and we'll blast that music. Nervins is saying, let me know, I'll be there. Terry coming in says, my comment above, he made it, was the answer to your question about, okay. So Peter Valley made Repriceit. Peter Valley seems like a smart guy. Do you know anything about Peter Valley? Apparently he's got beef with some people in the community. Don't want to get all dramatic in here, but I've heard things. People have come to me and say things. People thought I had beef. I don't beef with anyone yet. But if anyone has beef with me, I will smash them because I am the best bookseller east of California. East of the Pacific. I'm going to include California in there. East of the Pacific, y'all. West of the Mississippi. West of the Atlantic Ocean. Best bookseller on this planet. Arkansas. Okay, you got to remind me your name on Facebook. I remember one time you messaged me. I'm not associating junk man with your name on Facebook. Arkansas was the first state that I slept in my car. I slept in my car in Tennessee at my friend's house, but then Arkansas, after I left Memphis, I slept in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I went to the Goodwill there, sourced, went to White Rock Mountain in the Ozarks, and that was the start. That was the start of my journey. Good times. Phenomenal times. Hop on a YouTube to go watch your trigger video again. And ended up there. We got air horns going off outside. I'm telling you, they're crazy here in Miami, y'all. They're insane. And I'm one of them. Hop on a YouTube to go your trigger video. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So he was watching one of my trigger videos. Yeah, I have lots of different trigger videos. I have trigger videos if you're going to use our service, restrictedinventory.com. I have trigger videos just how to set up triggers for your business. Just type in Roamer the Roamer triggers Scout IQ, and those videos will come up. If they don't come up, message me on social media, comment below this video, and I will be sure to link you to the correct video. Kevin is saying cowbell. Kevin from France wants some more cowbell. Do they salsa dance in France? Is that something they're doing over there in France? I know England gets down with the salsa. London is one of the best places to salsa dance, I've heard. Benjamin saying he. Nice. Junkman saying east of the Rockies. I like to set a landmark because I got people in my mind and I want to take everybody out. So that's why I said east of the Pacific Ocean and west of the Atlantic Ocean. No, what if we did west of the Pacific? Now that would exclude everyone in America. So I got to say east of the Pacific and west of the Atlantic. So all of America, baby. Unless you're in Hawaii. You might have me if you're in Hawaii. You might be a better bookseller than me if you're in Hawaii right now. But everybody in the 48 states, you can't mess with this hustle. Highest IQ, best bookseller in Miami. I mean, I got probably the best salsa dancer too. You guys just can't compete. It's not, life isn't fair sometimes. I'm just saying. Latin Pickers in the house. Latin Pickers is saying, what's the best email to reach you? Coming in with jokes. Latin Pickers, I have not been working on my clave game. Latin Pickers was giving me advice on how to use the clave. But I have been stepping up my cowbell game. Look at this. I can hit it from the side. I can hit it from the front. I can hit it from the back. I can hit the cowbell from the back, front. Dude, I'm growing, y'all. I'm growing personally. You can reach me at romermartinllc@gmail.com. Everybody can reach me there. Or romertheroamer@gmail.com or info@restrictedinventory.com. All those emails I check. The one I check most frequently is actually info@restrictedinventory.com. So if you send it there, I will get to you fastest. White Rock, Ozark Mountains are beautiful. Little Rock is not. Yeah. So, but the Ozarks are right behind Little Rock. Little Rock's not bad. There's worse places in the world. Iowa, Illinois, pretty flat. They got cornfields. So be happy for what you got. They got some hot springs around there too. But Ozarks are absolutely gorgeous. All you guys, if you guys ever get the chance to go to the Ozark Mountains, 100% go there. They're not mountains, actually. What they are, it's a giant plateau with valleys in between. So it's just one flat piece of land, and the rivers have actually dug down. So there's no mountains. You're actually looking in a bunch of valleys. It's pretty trippy because if you look from one peak to the next, everything is flat. So once your brain realizes that, it's almost like a trippy feeling at the top of the mountain. Nervins is saying, you are the best bookseller today. After I learn all my game from you, I plan to take that title from you. Hey, I'm open. If anybody takes me out, it's got to be one of my students, 100%. But you're not going to take me out. Let's be honest, because I'm always growing, y'all. I'm coming here. I'm giving you guys the best tips, and you guys are going out and implementing those tips. And I just have to get better. So when I give you guys the best sourcing techniques, when I illuminate light on these different methods, I just have to go one step ahead, and it forces you to grow better. That's capitalism. Even restrictedinventory.com. Let's look at this right here. This is a great example of capitalism. So this is my service right here, restrictedinventory.com.
Grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking Well Show.
Boom. What happens when I make that? 5 other people make a service just like it. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily, because we're all going to provide a better service for the people now. That's how capitalism works. You do something, other people start to copy you, and then you get better. Everybody gets better. Is there still good money to make in reselling books? No, there's not. Unfortunately, I bought all the books in America, so no longer profitable for you guys. Of course, there's 130 million plus books in the world. That's the number that I found on Google. I'm not sure how accurate that is. It doesn't matter. What's important is there's so many books on this planet, so many books in America, so many books in France. For a guy from France watching, the guy from France could probably kill it if he implemented the hustle techniques that we're teaching here. There's so many books out there. You just have to get a little bit okay. Let's think about the average bookseller. What's the average bookseller? Let's be real. The average bookseller is usually someone who's kind of weird, haven't been successful in the past. They haven't been successful with other online models. Maybe they quit their job, whatever. Let's say the average bookseller brings home 60 grand a year. Let's say they bring home 50. Let's say they make 50,000 a year. All you have to do to beat that person is just be twice as good, which isn't that tough. And then you're making 6 figures every year. So if you guys, I don't mean to talk down on people, but if you go out and you look at who's doing this full time, if you look at these people cherry picking, it's not impressive. So if you think 1% smarter than them, how can I go upstream? How can I provide more value to the marketplace? What can I do to build an actual business revolving around books? You're going to be successful, and you're going to be able to scale fast. So yes, there's tons of money in books. When developing a buyback site, you have any info on what seems to be the optimal buyback price? Salsa is not big in France, he also said. So when developing a buyback site, so the best buyback price is going to be close to 25% of the lowest price on Amazon. So if I was to make my own buyback software, which sounds like you're thinking about doing that, which would be great. That's a great thing to think of. First would be 25%, maybe even 20% of the lowest used price on Amazon. And you can get that from the Amazon API. And then the next thing would be to consider sales rank, consider demand metrics, consider how often the book sells, and then vary from there. So maybe only give 10% of the lowest price if the sales rank goes above whatever. I know France has different sales ranks than America, so it's just something to consider. But essentially, you want to get 5x return. You want to be safe. in business and get 5x return on your investment, even when it comes to like textbooks, which have stupid profit margins, you still want to be safe. I ran into the mistake when I started selling books where I would pay 50% of the projected profit. Like, dude, I'm going to make $70 off of this. I'm going to give you $35 right now. When I should have been thinking, wait, market value changes. I knew nothing about price fluctuation back then. Market value changes. Why would I pay 50% of projected profits? That's way too good for that person. You should be paying them 20% of projected profits or even 10%. Not to be greedy, but to protect yourself and your business and actually make a business that can grow. So that's to answer your question about building a software for that. But even for everybody who's just quoting textbooks from students or people that have books, just remember, guys, 20% of market value. It's usually going to be more profit. It's going to be like 30 to 40% profit. That's still a lot. You could go lower. But I found that to be a sweet spot. Something also, when you're quoting low merchant with textbooks, so let's say you're quoting 25% of the lowest used offer, generally speaking, when you sell at FBA, you can sell it for like an extra 20 to 30%. So when you're selling the book FBA, you're going to get more than you thought you would have got for it. But you want to be thinking worst case scenario. I'm paying for this book. Worst case scenario, what is the profit for it? And then when you would actually sell it, you're happy that you could sell it for more FBA because you can sell books for a lot more FBA. Got lots of questions coming in. Much love. So we got Junkman saying Romer, Rakin, and Reezy, 3 bosses of books. You got to add Caleb in there. Caleb Roth is also, and there's some other killers in there that don't post on social media, but that's a triple R. We're at the R&R house. Maybe one day Reezy will come in here and we'll call it the triple R house and then throw him off the balcony. I'm just kidding. Me and Reezy go back and forth, but it's all love. We do have a trampoline on the balcony though. I don't think he's tall. I don't think he's tall enough to fall off. I don't think he could get over the edge. Flipping Accountant is saying, good evening, brother. How was kayaking today? Kayaking was phenomenal. I was on a paddleboard today, and the waves were ridiculous, just going up and down like this. And if you guys watch my Instagram story, I was like, first of all, I was wondering if I could even put in where we were putting at because like the cops have been getting on to people. But then I get in the water. I'm so confident that I'm wearing jeans. Like I've canoed my whole life. I'm like, I'm not going to fall in the water. Dude, I get on this water and it's a blow up paddle board. I'm like, all right, I'm going to fall. So I go back to the shore, put my phone on the ground, and then I go out a little bit farther. And sure enough, I fell in the first 10 minutes. Soaked my Gary Vee shoes too. Junkman saying caves, rivers, hills, trees, ticks, chiggers. Yeah, sounds like Arkansas. I've heard there are really good booksellers in California. Yeah, I'm sure there are. But like I said, I'm the best bookseller east. Is it east or west? East of the Pacific Ocean. Junkman saying it's not a competition. We need Junkman here when Reezy comes over. Except with yourself. Tron Legacy says, is it smart to travel around the USA just to find books to resell? Well, I hope only the smartest people would ever do that. I would hope that it would be a smart thing to do. It depends on what your goals are, but you're going to learn a lot from it, and you're going to make a lot of money, and you're going to get to see the world. So why not? Why not? That's how I started. Living in my car, traveling the country. It was a good time. Best booksellers are in Iran, China, and India. Okay. Those are that's not east of east of the Pacific Ocean. I said east of the Pacific Ocean and west of the Atlantic Ocean. So everybody in America And then I'll even put UK in there. I'm better than all those booksellers too. Colleges are a part of the textbook mafia, along with the publishers and distributors. Be in college, e-follow it. They do not like resellers. Got to build relationships with the student organizations. Nice. Person smart coming in here. Yeah. Yeah, there's a bit of a mafia mentality. But you can get in with the colleges. You can. You just got to work a little bit harder. And yeah. Think of the massive opportunity that would come along if that mafia was broken up. So like if Follett ever did go out of business, which I don't think they will because they seem like they're pretty smart with what they're doing. But imagine if they ever did, it'd be like a scramble for the colleges, for the college books, for who's going to be their book guy. Kevin's saying, thanks. I've been working on a buyback site for a couple months. I would like to see that. Message me. I would like to check that out. That's super interesting. I'm all about that super profit margins. Damn right. Who is not about the super profit margins? What do you think about moving to Canada to resell books? I was toying with the idea probably a year ago of buying books from Canada and selling them on .com and vice versa. So just looking for arbitrage opportunities between the two places. The demand is not as good as America, but the competition is also not as fierce up there. So I know some Canadian sellers who are doing pretty well, but the demand you get from .com, it's just insane. Have yet to go live and do price testing. Okay. Yeah, but message me about that, man. I'm super interested to see that that website you got going. Network Boy says no one has mastered college campus sourcing. If so, who? One of my mentors slash acquaintances slash enemies. He does pretty well at colleges. He does 6 figures a month, and he's just doing buybacks and little things like that. So I wouldn't say he's mastered it, but there's a lot of potential out there. You have to put your big boy pants on and really make yourself a business, have a nice business presentation, and then you'll be able to work with the schools. And like you said, you can work with the student body, student organizations. You don't have to work just with the colleges themselves, but there's potential there too, depending on if it's a bigger school, smaller school. Oh, wow. Never noticed everyone selling books had their username start with an R. Yeah. Even Caleb has an R. Caleb Roth, the book flipper. When you're offering 25% of the merchant price to sellers, do you start negotiations at 25% or start lower with the max offer being 25%? I generally like to keep it flat just because like that's how I am. I like to be fair with everybody. I like to quote the same way. And I delegate this. So I have students that buy books for me. So I give the student instructions. I'm like, look, you have the Amazon seller app. You're going to scan the book. You're going to pay 25% of this price. And it makes it very easy for them just to look at the app and generate a quote. If the student doesn't know how to read sales rank, which is pretty easy to explain to someone, if this number's above this, then don't quote 25%, quote 10%. So if the number goes above 1 million, quote 10% instead of 25%. We will actually use Book Scouter. So several times we'll get the Book Scouter app or Scout IQ, but I like using Book Scouter because Book Scouter factors in the quotes already. So we'll use Book Scouter, which is a service where it pulls all the prices from the vendors, and then we'll quote 75% of the highest price. So if someone's willing to pay $30 for a book, we'll give 75% of $30. And it's factoring in the demand of the book. It's factoring in how often does that book sell. So we're piggybacking off of other softwares to generate the price for the student, if that makes sense. And that's what Kevin's trying to do. Kevin's trying to generate a software like that. So I'm just piggybacking off of softwares like Kevin's trying to make, and I give them to my students not my students, but the students at the school to go out and quote the books. Junkman saying, "Oh snap, throwing shade on Reese." I'm not throwing shade on Reese, but if he ever comes in my house, we're definitely having a rap battle, and he'll probably beat me. He's pretty good at rapping, but after the rap battle, we're gonna have a wrestling match, and then we're gonna see who wins that. And then after that, we're gonna pull out our Amazon apps, and we're gonna compare our sales, and whoever has most sales wins between those three things: a rap battle, wrestling match, sales. In that order. I just bought brand new book sets from a liquidation store. Should I really sell them as like new? They're still in shrink wrap. So we're an hour and 9 minutes into my live show. It is time to take your notepads out, kids, and take some notes. I'm going to be breaking some rules here. Not breaking rules, but I'm going to be breaking down some norms. A lot of people think that you can't sell books as new. If you're getting brand new sets from a liquidation store, you should sell them as new. For whatever reason, the reselling community and it's infiltrated its way into the book community. They say you can't list books as new. You can list books as new. If they're new, list the books as new. 100%. I have not heard of one person getting in trouble for listing a book as new. I think the reason why this belief exists is because of brands like Lego and all these retail arbitrage items. They have, what's the right word for it? The brand owner will purchase the item from your Amazon store and they'll say it's counterfeit. They'll say it's not real. And so they try to get you off of the new listing so you can't be their competition. Or retail arbitrage people, it's just a different dynamic. They're selling different items. So if they sell an item that's new and it's not new, they get in more trouble. I've never heard of a bookseller getting in trouble, and it can be the difference between a $30 book and a $130 book. So if you can sell a new book for $130 versus selling it used for $30, and it's shrink wrapped, it's still in new condition. Even if it's not shrink wrapped, if you know you got it from the store, you got it from a liquidation, 100% sell that book as new. If you go in a Facebook group and bring up this conversation, a lot of people will get upset. But I've witnessed operations where they sell thousands of books a year, new condition books that they're actually getting. They're getting these from sources that like thrift stores, and they're calling them new, which they're very meticulous with the way they check their books. They have a whole process that takes like 2 minutes to look through the book to make sure it's new. It's a book that's never been read. That right there, guys. I'm kind of glossing over this, but that right there, that tip I just gave you it could make you an extra. That could 1.5 to 2 extra sales without increasing any volume of the books you're sourcing. Like seriously, that tip I just gave you, don't gloss over that. We're an hour, almost an hour and 10 minutes in. That's why I dropped that so late. I wouldn't have dropped it if it was earlier. And we go over stuff like that in my course as well, ways to really increase, your profit at the end of the day, because that's what's important. Tron Legacy is saying, how much do you think I can make a year starting off if I really put some effort in? So just to get your numbers up and get your profit going, what I would do is I would source at thrift stores, libraries. I'd be doing local pickups. I would be doing everything you could just to get your volume up, get your inventory to 2,000. Don't implement all these crazy scaling techniques that I'm talking about. Wait until you're getting consistent books, consistent sales, consistent profit every single month. After you get to that point, then start focusing on some scaling techniques so you can actually build a real business. And dude, you can make 60. I think if you work really hard your first year, it being your first year, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but your first year you can expect, if you play it smart, 55,000 to 75,000. And if you're really savvy, you could do better than that. And I'm talking profit. I'm talking about paying yourself after all is said and done. But as time goes on, as years go on, that number can really increase to well over 6 figures. And you can do a lot better. But starting out, you're going to have inventory costs. You're going to have to learn. The learning cost is a lot. Like the time you spend learning these little nuances is huge. And that's why it's important to invest in yourself by going to bookseller events, by, taking learning material. Like literally the Book Business Blueprint is going to cut off several months, if not years, of experience learning how to sell books. So value your time, and you don't have to buy my course or anything. I know I keep saying that, but value your time. Like learn as much as you can, as quickly as you can. And even if I don't care what business you're in, but the learning curve is going to be there regardless. You guys realize that, right? The learning curve is going to be there no matter what. So how are you going to get to the top of that learning curve fast? The answer is learn from people who have already done what you want to achieve. Learn from those people and actually implement the advice they give. That way, you don't have to learn from trial and error all by yourself. You don't have to go out there and experience the slaps in the face, the arrows in your back that everyone else had to go through first. I have a lot of arrows in my back. I've done a lot of stuff wrong, and I'm teaching you how to do things right. So the ability to learn and actually take action on a mentor's advice, on a teacher's advice, is so huge in life to success. Trial and error is great, but if you can learn from someone else's mistakes and you don't have to go get slapped in the face, that is 10 times better. So yes, Ben, I do start off at the 25%. Sometimes I'll try 20%. It just depends. I'll tell my student, start with 20%. And if everybody's saying no, then we'll raise it up a little bit. But I found 25% to be a really fair price, because 25% of low merchant, you're going to sell the book FBA. So you're actually going to get a lot more for it. So you're quoting it based off the low merchant, but the FBA generally is like 20 to 40% higher than the merchant. So you're really getting a lot more for the book than just 25%. Ben saying, thanks, Romer. Good advice as always. I would like to list books as new if I had the supplier invoice, just in case I get in trouble. You're only going to run into that problem with brands. So, and if you do get in trouble, if they do ask for an invoice, you're only going to get that one listing closed, I guess. You're only going to get that one listing. You're not going to be able to sell that listing anymore. But as resellers, we sell thousands and thousands of books. If we can't sell one book, if we can't sell one listing, is it that big of a deal? And this is going to happen inevitably. You're going to be selling used books, and people are going to put in IP claims. People are going to try to get you off their listing. And at scale, like large booksellers have like 38 IP claims open at once, because it's just their way of trying to cleanse the market of resellers. So it's going to happen either way. I wouldn't be too worried about it. William saying, thanks, man. Appreciate you. James saying, do you use Jungle Scout? No, that's more for private label people. I rep the hell out of new books, because when I buy new from Amazon themselves, it arrives as very good from Dents during transit. Yeah, that's a good concern, John Doe. Because when you give the books to Amazon, they are throwing that stuff around. So there's pros and cons to it. There's a bright side and there's a dark side to that. The dark side is obviously if you send a book in that is actually new, they'll throw it around, it'll go dirty, and it'll be a used book, according to the customer. And the customer is always right, so Amazon's going to refund them their money. That's the bad thing that can happen. The good thing that can happen, in terms of like people like Kevin, like saying they want to invoice, the good thing that can happen is even if you do have an invoice, even these sellers that do have invoices, they're likely they're dealing with the same exact situations we all are. So if you send in a book that is new, and maybe you didn't judge the book right, maybe you said the book was brand new condition and there was writing on page 3 because you didn't do a good job of looking at the book, which you shouldn't send in books that have writing in it. But let's say you did, or not writing. Let's use an example of like a scuff on the corner. So you send in that book as a scuff on the corner and it sells. Amazon knows that their warehouses are rough, so they're not going to penalize you as a seller because your book went into their factory and they know that their warehouse is a tough situation for books. So they're going to be more lenient on you for grading the book as new. Go read Amazon's terms of service for what constitutes a book as new condition, and you'll see it's not as stringent as a lot of people make it out to be. It's actually more lenient. I don't know the exact definition, but it's not, they don't say you have to have an invoice. Repriceit doesn't work for Amazon France. Oh, sorry about that. Does Repriceit doesn't work up there either? I know some people use Amazon to reprice. They use Amazon's automatic repricer, and I've heard decent things about that. But I think it's a per listing basis. So I think it would just be a pain. That's why I don't use it. And Amazon doesn't really want you to make the most money on their books. Ironically, they want to make the customer happy, and the customer's happier a lot of times if the price is cheaper. So Amazon actually tries to keep the prices cheaper. You can't sell textbooks as new unless you're grandfathered in, been selling since 16. Forget about it if you're new. Yeah. So are you ungated in textbooks to sell them as used and new? Network Boys Incorporated. Is Jim Pickens still in the book business? I don't know if he's in the book business. I know he's still alive. I saw him post something on Facebook the other day. Do you look through return claims, and do you have your assistants flag problem buyers and known scammers to dispute? No, we don't. That'd be a good service, though. If someone came out with a service looking, or even like a software that knows fraudulent buyers, and so whenever there's a massive amount of refunds, it'll automatically open a claim for you. That'd be a cool service. If a book has a remainder marks, can you sell it as new? No, that is in the Amazon terms of service. If it has a remainder mark, it is not new. Let me take that back. I'm pretty sure it's in the Amazon terms of service, so don't quote me on that. Read Amazon's terms of service for what constitutes a new book, but I'm pretty sure I read that in there. Like Masha Lady versus Maravas. Coming in with jokes. I've had a hard time estimating the prime bump on no FBA competition items. Okay. This is a good question. Sometimes I'm afraid of pricing really high. Okay. So what he's asking is there's a book that has no FBA offers. He's going to come in as a prime seller and sell the item. He knows he can get more for it because everybody else is selling it from their warehouse. They're not selling it prime. They're not selling it FBA, but he is. How much more can he sell this item for? The answer to that question depends on the rank. So if it's a very high demand rank, very low rank, which means high demand, you can price it for much higher, upwards 50, 100%. As the demand decreases, the rank goes up, you want to hover 20, 10%. I've sold a book, Prime Bump. I've sold a book $1,000 more than the lowest Prime Bump. than the lowest used offer. I've sold $1,000 more than the lowest used offer. How insane is that? It was either 1,000 or 500. It was a lot of money, whatever the case was. It was that Jewish set that I always talk about. I sold a Jewish set for $2,000. So the prime bump is real. It exists. You can price items higher because you're a prime seller. So I would try to squeeze as much profit as possible by pricing at least 50% higher than the lowest price. Make sure you don't go over the new price. So if you're selling a Can you guys hear me? My mic went out. Make sure you don't go over the new price. So like if the used price is 20 and you did the math, you priced it 50% higher, which is going to be $30, but the new price is 25. You don't want to go over the new price. You still want to go like 24. So you always want to be underneath whatever the new price is. Unless this is where it gets complicated. I learned this from my mentor, Caleb Roth. Unless the new offer is not prime. So if the new offer is not prime and the demand is high enough, which means the sales rank is low, you can actually price the book for higher than new and expect to get the sale. How crazy is that? You can sell a used book for more than the new price if the sales rank is low enough and if you're the only, not if you're the only FBA offer, but if the FBA offer, if there's no FBA offer lower than you. So if the lowest FBA offer is used 35, you can come in at $35 and sell it more than the new. Network Boys is ungated in textbooks. He says, I literally clean books from student sticker removal and sell as new. Interesting. Interesting. Did you read Amazon's terms of service? Did you make sure that what did you base your philosophy off of? Is it just like experience? Do you have friends that have done the same thing? Do you have people who have already done this successfully? What made you confident enough to do that? I'm interested because there's so many people in the Facebook groups that'll just shut people down for doing that. I have like 500 duds. What should I do with them? Don't really want to throw them in a dumpster. Simply pick up the phone, call Goodwill, call Salvation Army, and get them to pick them up. Say, hey, I have books I want to donate. Can you pick these up? Make sure you call one that you don't visit on the regular. Call the bad one. Call the one that has no good books ever, and they'll come and pick them up from you. Yes, remainder marks means it is not new. Yep. Subscribed and liked. You're super awesome. Hope to connect at some point or something. Yeah, some event or something. Nice to meet you, Network Boys Incorporated. Much love. How the hell did you decide to price the Jewish set for $2,000 US? Were you the only FBA? So when I sent the Jewish set in, there was another listing. I believe it was $1,500. I got a little bit excited earlier and I said I sold it for an extra $1,000. I sold it for an extra $500. So that's still a significant prime bump. For selling the item prime, I made an extra $500. So I got the Jewish set and I looked at the Keepa graph. So I have videos breaking down Keepa graphs. I looked at the Keepa graph and I saw that it sold 3 times over the last 3 years, something like that. I don't know the exact number, but I saw that it sold a certain amount of time over the last several years. So what I did was whenever that spike, and I break this down in other videos, whenever that spike occurred, I looked at the price that it sold for. So I saw, okay, it sold for $1,500. Okay, it sold for $2,000. Oh shit, it used to sell for $3,000. And I looked at those prices, and I think I priced it initially at $3,000 because I was being greedy. And I was like, you know what? It's not selling. So I dropped it to $2,000 and then it sold. So I looked at the Keepa history. I looked at for the price that it sold for in the past. And I teach you how to do this in my Keepa videos. But yeah, made a smart decision based off of that. We got Williams asking, the buy box has been very strange lately. I've seen quite a few merchant fulfilled books getting the buy box, even when there are FBA offers. Yeah. The reason why the buy box is acting strange is Amazon is letting merchants get the buy box because their fulfillment centers have been overwhelmed with everybody purchasing Prime. Everybody wants stuff really fast right now. They're all at home. They're bored. And what Amazon's doing to combat that is like, we can't keep up with this demand. So we're going to have the sellers that are shipping this directly to the customer handle it. So that's why they're going the merchant fulfilled route. They're giving merchant fulfillers the buy box, but they'll revert back. They'll start giving FBA the buy box soon because they'll want to clear their warehouses out. Amazon always wants to free up as much space as possible. When you say price 50% more than the lowest price, you mean the lowest MF, right? Getting so much value from these tips. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah. Lowest MF. Yeah. So 50% higher. So to circle back to his question, to give you guys some context, he was asking, how do you price a book that has no FBA competition? You can get away with pricing at least 50%, maybe even more, depending on the price, above the lowest offer. So by lowest offer, I mean, yes, lowest merchant offer. You can make like 20 TikToks from this session, do so much content. I need somebody to do that for me. I need to have someone savvy enough to go through and pick out the good parts and do that. Right now, I have a bunch of people from the Philippines working for me. I'm just not sure if they would, maybe it's a limiting belief, but I'm not sure if they could understand my content enough to pull relevant stuff that people would actually like. Have you resourced from recycling centers? Have I sourced? I'm guessing is what you're asking. I have not. Be interesting though. Trial and error. And yes, I have read terms of service. My network of students keep their books in good condition. If the book doesn't look new, I won't sell it as new. Simple. Chances make champions. Interesting. Yeah. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, network boys. Be interested in connecting with you. Romer the Romer on Instagram is my name. What tools or apps do you use besides the big ones? So you want to keep your costs down as much as possible, and you want to keep your business as simple as possible. The big ones, obviously, I use Scout IQ, Accerlerlist. I could get away with just those two, and also Repriceit. And then here's a good one. I give this guy so much business, but he deserves it. They've done well. Refunds Manager. So go to refundsmanager.com and sign up for their service, and they'll open cases for you. They won't give you anything. They'll open cases for you, and they'll get you inventory that Amazon lost. So Amazon's lost a lot of your inventory. They'll open cases. They'll get you the money that Amazon owes you legally, and then they'll charge you 30% of whatever they got you. So like literally 2 days ago, $450. I got a email notification. Hey, we got you $450 back into your bank account. I was like, great. And I paid them $120 for it. So it's worth it. Like some people say it's a little bit pricey to pay 30%, but hey, I would not have done that anyway. There is a little bit of a time limit. You guys should sign up for that service as soon as possible, because books that are over 90 days old. So if Amazon lost your book and 90 days have passed, there's nothing you can do to get your money back for that book. So open up the case as soon as possible. And you don't have to open up the case yourself. Just sign up for Refunds Manager and they'll do that for you. So every seller who's been in business for over 3 months should have that service. There's no cost for the service. They only charge you when they make you money. Can you store books in a garage? Yes. Yes, you can. Even if it's hot out, you can. Much love to Daniel Gomez. $2 super chat. He's saying you're the man. Really appreciate that. I believe you're a customer of restrictedinventory.com as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Much love. I really appreciate you using our service. And I'm going to put this on the screen one more time for you guys. I love putting this up there, but this is restrictedinventory.com, baby.
Grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking well show.
Also, there's this 7-day challenge I have, and I showed you guys this before, but check this out. 7-day challenge where I teach you how to make your first $1,000 selling on Amazon. This is for super beginners.
Grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking well show.
So that challenge, it's just made to obliterate anybody's limiting beliefs that they can't sell on Amazon. So I've thought about, we were going to charge $7 for that. We still might charge $7 for that, but I've even thought about giving away for free. So let me know what you guys think. Should I give away that challenge for free or should I charge $7? I will take your considerations into mind. Why would Facebook groups have a problem with me selling new books? People hate what they can't do. Facebook groups, I don't know if it's necessarily them trying to protect their profits. I don't think they're trying to protect their profits. I think what it is it's just like when everybody believes something, nobody wants to be wrong, and people like being right. So it's just like culture. It's just like one of those beliefs that everybody accepts. And I literally think that's it. So like when someone comes in, it's kind of like people like feeling like they're smart. So it's like, oh yeah, that's something you don't do. You don't sell books as new, and they just shut people down instantly. It's kind of like the whole cult thing. It's like these Facebook groups are kind of like cults sometimes, including mine. So if you guys aren't in my Facebook group, go to Romer the Romer Seller Community on Facebook, and I'll get you in there. All right, let's see. Ben Bamboo is asking, what do you say in your textbook want ads if you post any? Oh, he's asking Network Boys that. My bad. My bad. I'm intervening. I'm intervening on y'all's conversations in the chat. You guys continue having conversations in the chat, and I'll just continue reading these questions. Okay, my IG is score gold. Look out for it. Will do. Will do, brother. What do you think of eflip? Eflip's great. I use eflip to generate list of books to do online arbitrage. I have a whole online arbitrage course where I break down how to sell books, how to look for seasonality, the ups and downs, how to really make profit, how to ensure that you're making $20 profit on each book that you flip, and yeah, really protect yourself. It's like a very conservative course where like I don't teach you to cross your fingers and hope that you make profit. No, I give it to you realistically and what to look for to actually turn a profit doing online arbitrage. I'm really proud of that course. Currently, it's only available to people who purchase the Book Business Blueprint, but it will be available to the public in the future. Any European booksellers watching would like to connect? Any other Europeans out there? Do you recommend Accerlerlist over Inventory Lab? Yes, and that's just because I've used Accerlerlist. It's worked for me. It's compatible with all my tracking spreadsheet, and it works great. So yes. I don't post any ads, just hardcore marketing on campuses. Nice. Nice. All right, y'all. Hour and 33 minutes in. Really appreciate you guys tuning in for this one. If you guys got some value from that, hit that like button, subscribe. If you didn't like it, I mean, shit, you've been watching an hour and a half. I'm so sorry. I guess at this point you've been watching an hour and a half. You can hit the dislike button at this point because you've seen all of me. But yeah, guys, much love. I will catch you in the next live stream. I'm going to be going hard on content over the next couple of days, over the next couple of weeks, and even next couple months, next couple years, next couple decades. I will be going live every day. Mark my words. Peace out, family. Much love.